What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Bets and ball games. Thanksgiving week 14 edition, recording on Wednesday around a quarter afternoon Eastern. Let's start by telling you that this Thanksgiving holiday, why not head to the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting, Bet Online. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with constant real-time odds and action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and boxing, head to the website today to see why BetOnline is America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right, Jay, happy early turkey. How we doing?
We're doing great, and that was an outstanding ad read by you, my man. I mean, that was that. It's like you. It's like your day job or something. I mean, you're like a professional and stuff.
Well,
It's a wonderful time to be alive. I'm actually sitting here in our kitchen here high atop Signal Mountain, and my wife's got cornbread in the iron skillet. The kids are watching college basketball and playing video games, and I mean, this is a sneaky great sports week. You know it.
oh, always has been. And hey, Alabama and Houston, hell of a game last night. Even Rutgers, Notre Dame, late night. Now A&M lost a tough one. I do like A&M today. If Max gets this, I don't think it's going to be edited before A&M kicks off out in Vegas. But
Yeah, but Auburn needs to be the number one team in the country come next week, right?
looked great last night against Carolina, obviously.
And a huge win against a very good Iowa State.
Iowa State. Yes, yes. Although they did not cover for me.
No, they didn't, but they did cover last night.
They
And they continue to go over on their team total.
Yes.
They put balls in buckets.
Yes, they do. All right, let's go good, bad, and ugly from the college football last week, and I will start with the good. My Florida Gators, back-to-back wins over ranked teams, or LSU was ranked when we beat them. I don't know if they are anymore, but ruining Lane's CFP dreams, it would seem so, barring all sorts of wackiness this weekend. I don't think there's even enough to get Ole Miss in. They went outright as a 13-point underdog. I mean, everybody was on Ole Miss. That line kept going up last week, and we are losers on our season win total bet. DJ Lagway was better than the stats indicate. So many times he eluded pressure and made big time throws for third down conversions, etc. Montreal Johnson, he had come back the week before, but I think he only had 2 or 3 carries. He looked back to his old self, 18 carries, 107 yards, and 1 touchdown. And then the Gators, now a couple of them were 3 stars that don't, get the juices going, but more flips of Florida State players. I believe that's 3 Seminoles that Billy Bob has flipped in recent weeks. And look, the Gators defense gave up a lot of yards, but was really good at making big plays, whether it be sacks, interceptions, etc. So the good is the Florida Gators finally, for the first time during Billy Napier's tenure, playing good ball with back-to-back wins, albeit at home. And it is my God-given birthright to win every Saturday at the Swamp, but doesn't happen much lately, so we'll take it.
There's a lot of good to be doled out over this weekend, but I got to stay in the Swamp for multiple reasons. I mean, I'm going the good. One, unbelievable testament to that fan base. That place looked like they were ranked number 2 in the country and playing for a college football playoff spot. I mean, that place was great. 2, this is maybe the first time in our tenure doing this that you did not use Bob, his middle name Bob, in referring to Billy Napier, which 3.
I think I did once, but not every time.
I know. You're bouncing back and forth, but if you get into just being Billy Napier, hell, we're like 2 more big wins away from you calling him William Napier for a lack of a better term. The 3, I don't know of a team who should be more excited moving forward with a quarterback than your statement about DJ looking better than the stats, dude hung in there against arguably the best pass rush in the country and made throw after throw with future NFL players hanging on him and delivered just darts. I mean, you've got 2+ years of this guy. I mean, whether you think Billy Bob is a clown or not, you got a QB1 moving forward in the swamp that people are going to have to answer for.
Now, the bone I would have to pick, as a brief aside here before we keep going, the bone I would have to pick is that we have 3 commits from wide receivers in this class right now. And one of them is a 5-star who's the 6th best receiver in the country per 247 Sports Composite. The other one's a 3-star, the 50th best receiver in the country, and the other's a 3-star, the number 92 receiver in the country. Why are we not bringing in 3 or 4 of the top 10 receivers in the country to play with DJ Ludecke?
Well, and the day and age has changed, man. I mean, we're different. I mean, it depends on who you're writing checks to. That is all we're dealing with. I mean, LSU.
Well, I guess we can get the top portal wide receivers. I guess.
Well, maybe you get the top portal wide receiver, but LSU. Did you hear what the Underwood kid?
Portnoy.
Yeah. I mean, Michigan gave him like $10 million to
per year
from LSU to Michigan
per year.
Total. His total package was $10 million. Is what the reports are out there. I mean, the day and age of stockpiling recruits, it's the reason Saban left. I mean, plain and simple. He could stockpile recruits because he could pledge to you as a recruit, if you're a 5-star, whatever, if you come and eventually become a starter at Alabama, you will get into the NFL and become a millionaire. Well, now these 5-stars want to be a millionaire tomorrow as soon as they sign their name.
Yeah. Okay. My bad, because I'm going to save Alabama for ugly, but you can do Bama as your bad if you want. My bad is just going to be, now, I don't think he went for it on 4th on any of the red zone trips that weren't like 4th and 2 or fewer. So it's not that egregious, but I mean, 3 empty red zone trips in a close game, Lane. I mean, at some point you got to be okay with a field goal here and there, and
And why do you run Pegues on a sweep?
I know his running backs are hurt, but Jackson Dart's a hell of a runner. Why you got Jackson Dart as the lead?
Why are you running the 320-pound defensive tackle
twice,
running him through the 8 gap? I mean, why are you running through the 8 hole? I mean,
if you're going to run him up the middle,
end, run him straight down the middle. No, that Lane Kiffin had a bad weekend.
Yeah.
So did Kalen DeBoer.
Yes.
Hey, all the talk, and yes, you're the guy who signed on to replace the guy. Nick Saban's the GOAT. He's the best to ever do it. He's better than Bear. He's better than Paterno. He's better than Bowden. He's better than anybody who's ever put on a headset. Better than Spurrier.
He's 1-3 against Spurrier.
What you're going to say about
against Spurrier?
No, he's better than Spurrier, and you know he is.
He's 1-3.
And I'm an Auburn graduate. For God's sakes, man. I'm an Auburn graduate, and I'm singing Lane Kiffin's praises. I'm not Lane Kiffin. Nick Saban's praises. But Kalen DeBoer, man, that was a complete and total turd you left in Norman, Oklahoma. Total. And maybe the greatest thing that Saban always did, his kids never came out flat. Ever. Think how many inexplicable losses Alabama's had this year that they'd have beaten if Saban with the same team had gone to Norman, Oklahoma last Saturday, 48-10. What would he have done to Diego Pavia in Alabama? or in Vandy. No
He'd have
chance.
won. He'd have won.
This Alabama team, Georgia game was a coin flip. Ole Miss is good, even though they underachieved and it cost you and me a whole lot of money.
Yep.
But no, this is a one-loss Alabama team if Saban's on the sideline. That's my bad. Kalen DeBoer, you failed this weekend.
Yeah. My ugly is everything Alabama. Jalen Milroe was horrible. 11 of 26, 164 yards, 3 interceptions, no tutties. Did not get anything going with his legs. 15 rush attempts, only 7 yards. They got outgained on the ground, 257-70. When was the last time Bama gave up 257 on the ground? And
yeah,
I mean, Oklahoma only threw for 68 yards, and they only threw it 12 times. And you only made them punt 3 times. And Oklahoma missed a field goal. And it was an ass beating. That's just really, really, really ugly for the Tide. And now, as we'll talk about the Iron Bowl coming up, it could get even uglier.
I got a lot of ugly. I'm going to start first and foremost. This was an ugly weekend for the SEC.
Yes.
Because it cost them millions of dollars, millions, in terms of do you see any way they get 4 teams in the playoffs now?
It would take some craziness. It would take some chaos. No, I don't think so.
I mean, going into last Saturday, there was a conversation about potentially 5 teams getting in. And now now it really only feels like 3. Especially if Texas beats Texas A&M,
right?
Then who knows? It is going to take some craziness. Number 2, the officiating in the SEC is bad, and it needs to get better. I mean, Alabama got hosed on a phantom illegal touching call, and I don't know if it would have made the difference, but at that point in time, it was going to be a touchdown early in the fourth quarter. It was going to really cut into that lead, and it was wiped away because Ryan Williams is dude. And it was glossed over, and maybe I'm the only one who stayed up all night and watched just the marathon torture fest that was the great Auburn win over Texas A&M. But there were 2 horrendous calls in overtime against Auburn. One a phantom pass interference and one a no call on defensive pass interference. And they're washed away because Auburn ended up winning the game. And then finally, the biggest ugly of all, we have got to figure out a way to quit storming the field.
For God's sake, we don't do that in the Swamp. There's no doing that in the Swamp. We don't do that.
Auburn beat the number 15 team in the country and stormed the field.
Yeah, we don't ever do it.
Have more pride than that. Number 2, here's the other thing. With all these light shows and every other thing, somebody's going to get really hurt because you got a whole bunch of 40-year-ago Jay Greasons with a snoot full running out there yelling smack at a whole bunch of really upset athletes, and somebody's going to punch somebody in the face, and we're all going to look up and go, well, he should be more composed. No, we should keep the kids and the people off the field. I mean,
it's more dangerous than basketball. It's way more dangerous than basketball. We don't have near as much room.
There's going to be somebody get seriously hurt, and then we're all going to look up.
Yeah.
And this isn't even getting into the ugliness that is the San Jose State lawsuit, but I'm not going to dive into that because this is Southeastern 14, not San
16.
Jose State 14. 16.
Yes. So. Yes. All right. Okay. Let's all right. Well, first off, let me give you the line or the odds from Bet Online to win the SEC championship game. Georgia -150, Texas +160, and A&M +750. All right. So our first game in the SEC on Friday is on ABC, and that is Mississippi State at Ole Miss. And we have a spread at Bet Online of Ole Miss minus 26, total of 61.5. The Bulldogs plus 1350 on the money line. The first half line for Ole Miss is minus 14.5. All right, I will let you go first with any thoughts you might have here.
Well, it's impossible to know whether Ole Miss comes out flat, even in a game as meaningful as the Egg Bowl. I mean, all of their dreams were dashed in the swamp.
Yeah, I mean, look, Dart's getting emotional like Adam Morrison
Boy, he
style
played bad.
before
Boy,
the
he played
game's
bad.
over. I thought he played good for a good stretch of the game, but he played really bad in the fourth quarter. Terrible in the fourth quarter.
I mean, this game is crazy. The only way I would play this game is taking the points. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Mississippi State's going to win. But the only way I would play this game is taking the points and possibly the over. But this game, do you have any feeling on this game?
No, I'm on the same page as you, but I would have to give it 20. It would have to get to 28 for me to actually pull the trigger on a play on Mississippi State. If it were to get to 28, and who knows, we could see some more line.
But I mean, and hey, I mean, again, saying openly, I do not have a feel in this game. There's a real chance Kiffin puts his foot on their neck and wins by 50. I mean, style points may matter. I mean, because they need not only Ole Miss need craziness, they're going to need craziness, and to go into the weekend, a 70-7 rivalry win looks good in the ticker. I mean,
well, let me go through a few Mississippi State results on their road games. Arizona State, who's 8-2 both straight up and against the spread, they lost by 7 at ASU, and yeah, ASU, way to go last week. Although, what the hell was Dillingham doing there in the last 30 seconds? But
again, ugly.
Right? Yeah.
Field storming. You guys stay the hell off the field.
Yeah. So at Texas, they lose by 22, but that game was like a one-possession game, late third, maybe even early fourth. At Georgia, they lose by 10. At Tennessee, they lose by 19. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 highly ranked teams that they played on the road, and they did not lose by – the biggest loss was by 22 at Texas, and this line is 26. Yeah, I think it's Mississippi State or pass.
I agree.
All right, let's go. Georgia Tech at Georgia, ABC, and this would be let me get the line first, 7:30 p.m. Kick. So we've got at Bet Online, we have Georgia at 19 with a total of 53. Georgia Tech on the money line plus 700, and Georgia in the first half is minus 10.5 with a total of 27.5. So I'm going to get my Brent Key double-digit underdog stats together here in a second. But I was watching the Steelers game last Thursday, and I was not watching Georgia Tech and NC State. I had started a money line parlay with Georgia Tech, but I didn't have any real action on it other than that. And I wasn't paying attention. I didn't realize Haynes King didn't really play much in that game.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it really – I watched a whole bunch of that actually because I was on Tech and mistakenly laid the number. But they've turned the keys over to the more passing-oriented guy, whether it's injury or philosophy. Who knows? But no,
I think it's the shoulder. He can only throw short passes, I guess. And I guess Cristobal didn't figure that out, I guess.
I mean, but he can't throw, and when they rotate those guys in, I mean, Tech was lucky to win against NC State. Real curious to see how Georgia – is this game on Friday?
Yes, 7:30.
Man, that's going to be fun. That's a good Friday night game. That's a good spot for them, honestly.
Yeah, so
Um,
I was going to say if Haynes King's healthy, this is an automatic play on Georgia Tech for me. And I'm not sure I don't still lean Georgia Tech anyway.
no, that's too many points in a game that is Georgia Tech's Super Bowl, and Georgia just wants to survive. I mean, Georgia needs 21-20, get to the SEC championship game, and then you're in the playoff, and everything else is gravy. So, but this is Georgia Tech's Super Bowl.
Yeah, so last year, or the two games that Brent Key has faced Georgia, last year 31-23 loss as a 24 point underdog. So you cover the spread by 16 points. Georgia was number one in the nation for that game last year and 2 years ago, and in that game it was 37-14, but Georgia Tech was catching 36. So he covered by 13 points in that game. And Key, well, the Miami game was double digits all week, and then when I'm talking about 2 weeks ago, when it was reported that Haynes King would play, it went down to 9.5, or else that would be another double-digit dog, not cover, but outright wins. He does well. He beat FSU as a double-digit underdog earlier this season. Last year, he won against North Carolina as 11.5-point dog. He won at Miami as a 20-point dog. He also won at North Carolina as a 21-point dog 2 years ago. He also won at Pitt as a 22-point dog a couple years ago. So Brent Key thrives in this role, but without not like knowing how healthy King is, it's only going to be a small play. But I am on Georgia Tech, but not one of my stronger plays of the week.
Hey, have you thought about rolling the dice on some of these long odds, maybe a money line parlay on a Mississippi State or a Tech or anything like that? Does that interest you in games like this that could be coin flips?
I put a little bit, not on the long shot. Now I put a little bit on Kentucky on the money line plus 140, and we'll get into that game in a minute. But I don't. I don't think Georgia Tech or Mississippi State are going to win outright.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was bandying things about because and then I was about to sing Brian and Brent Key sitting in a tree, Kissing. I mean, you love you some Brent Key as an underdog now.
I do.
Hey, if they're cashing checks, we love them all.
Hey, here's one guy. Who might be worthy of a money line play. Let's go to Nash Vegas. ABC Noonie. Oh, finally, Vandy gets off the SEC network. Finally, maybe that's just what Diego
wanted.
Straight to
Jefferson Pilot, baby. Straight to the three Daves.
No, ABC. No JP. ABC. Tennessee at Vandy. Noon Eastern kick. That's 11 a.m. local time. And BetOnline has Tennessee at 10.5 with a total of 48. The money line for Diego Pavia plus 315. Now you can there's a plus 350 out in Vegas at the Westgate Superbook. So that might be one to consider. And I actually, we talked last week. I was like not going to play this game because it was 7.5. Well, when it ticked up to 10, I sent out a tweet. Okay, I wasn't going to do this all week, but you're going to give me 10, huh? All right, I'm in.
You give me Diego Pavia and 10,
plus 10
and a Tennessee team that only, again, like Georgia, they don't need style points. They just get us out of this rivalry game with a 3-point win, and we're happy.
Yeah.
So because you're happy and you're in the playoffs.
So Vandy has been a double-digit underdog 6 times this year, 6-0 against the spread with 3 outright wins, and they covered again last week against LSU as a 10-point dog. And looking at the head-to-head here lately, so Tennessee has won 5 in a row in this series, but Vandy did win the 3 previous. And in this 5-game winning streak for Tennessee, Vandy has covered 3 times. But this is a smaller number, but it's because Vandy is a lot better football team. And I got to roll with Vandy. Again, it's not one of my strongest plays amount-wise, but Vandy is a double-digit dog. Yeah, and I'll give a little baby piece of, the plus 330-ish, what have you. on
All right,
Vandy.
and I don't mean to hit you where you live right here, but if you had a vote in the SEC Coach of the Year balloting, are you voting Clark Lee or are you voting Billy Napier?
Stop. Billy Napier is not a candidate for Coach of the Year. Do you know
Are
we've
you
been
voting Clark Lee or are you voting William Napier? Put some respect on his name.
Clark Lee would be getting my vote.
All
Yes.
right. What about Shane Beamer?
Actually, Shane Beamer will be getting my vote. Actually, would be getting my vote. Yes, Shane Beamer. Let's not forget that that Billy got boat raced at the Swamp
William,
twice
sir.
this year.
Sir,
He
William.
got boat raced in Austin, Texas, and he got beat by Georgia. Although Flagway is in those games, probably not getting boat raced and probably beating Georgia.
Well, the way that game was playing out, it was going to be down to the end
Oh yeah, for
for
sure.
sure.
About yeah. So no, Shane Beamer, actually, thank you. That's a good call. Shane Beamer is my coach of the year, especially if he beats Clemson. Now, if he loses to Clemson and Vandy beats Tennessee, that could swing it back to Clark Lee, I think.
Which leads us to, does anybody this weekend, and get your numbers ready. I know we may be going out of schedule order, but Clemson, South Carolina, maybe with the, if you're taking your loyalties out of it, that may be the most important and interesting game of rivalry weekend.
Yeah, because Clemson's still very much in this thing.
So is
And
South Carolina.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, if South Carolina beats Clemson and we're looking up and we're starting to grade these 3 loss teams about one of them getting in the top 12, who's playing better than South Carolina?
Right, exactly. No, I hear you on that. And we didn't go out of order. It is a noon Eastern kick on Saturday on ESPN, and Bet Online has Clemson 2.5, total of 49. Money line Clemson, or I'm sorry, South Carolina's plus 115 on the money line, and I think I like South Carolina.
I do too. I do too. The defensive line, the front seven, that never slumps. I mean, you're not worried about quarterback play or running back being hobbled by an injury or a wide receiver being distracted. South Carolina's front seven is flat as good as anyone, including Ole Miss, and that travels to a place that every single week you can rely on that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned it last week. The quarterback is going to be atop every preseason ranking next year, wherever he's in school. I mean, that guy, he's put together 6 weeks of absolutely stunning film.
Yeah. And let me also just quickly mention, so we usually broadcast on Thursday, and the normal injury report is first released on Wednesday. And we do not have that this week because we're recording on Wednesday. So Josh Simon, who's had an excellent year at tight end, did not play against Wofford last week. I want to know that he's playing before I back South Carolina. And there's some other games, where we don't really have the injury report yet that could maybe change some things for me. Just throwing that out there. I definitely want Josh Simon to be playing for South Carolina because he's a big boy.
Well, you do a better job of this than I do, and many thanks to our friends at Southeastern 16. But you are very good on the Twitter, the X, whatever it's called these days, of putting your updated picks even after this pod goes to broadcast. But no, I think South Carolina's a better football team than Clemson. Truly.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, for sure. I just want him to have that big hoss of a tight end, Josh Simon, playing ball. What else on this game? I'm not interested in the total. I haven't been playing nearly as many totals this year as I normally do. Just haven't really gotten a good rhythm with no, there was no 2023 LSU over.
Yeah, there's no Jaden Daniels out there saying I'm going to score 60, and the other
Yeah,
team's going to have to keep up.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so we both like South Carolina. All right, Louisville at Kentucky, SEC Network, noon Eastern, and we have. All right, here it is. We have Bet Online listing Louisville at 4 with a total of 49, and Kentucky on the money line plus 150. So here are the last 5 results in this rivalry. Kentucky 56, Louisville 10. Kentucky 45, Louisville 13. Kentucky 52, Louisville 21. Kentucky 26, Louisville 13. And last year, where Louisville was heavily favored, uh, Ray Davis had a big game, and Kentucky went into. Is it still called Papa John's? I don't think it's called Papa John's anymore.
They broke up with Papa John's. He
Oh,
got canceled.
it's L&N Federal Credit Union. Well, they went in there and won 38-31 as I believe a 7 or 7.5 point underdog. And I like the so I was tuned in for all 60 minutes at Texas because I had a pretty substantial wager on Kentucky plus 21. And I like the Boley kid. I believe he's a true freshman. He is tall. Right. He's got a good arm. He was plenty composed. I think I like this guy. I'm guessing he's going to start. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, he was Cutter Boley, and he was their second best recruit in this class. I like the guy, and I like Kentucky in this game.
No, I think absolutely. And a great spot for Kentucky, honestly. You're coming back home, playing a rival. They didn't they just destroy Pitt last week?
Yes, they did. They beat
so they're
them
rolling high.
37-9. Yes.
I agree completely with you on the Kentucky freshman quarterback, but it also and we celebrate our successes, but it's a little hollow if we don't admit our failures, because sure. I will openly admit, not only did we miss glaringly on Ole Miss's over total, I thought Brock Vandergrift was going to be a dude.
Yeah.
And this kid looks every bit better, if not more so. And I know Brock's been battling injuries and maybe it's not completely fair, but last week that kid looked great in a loss at Texas. And I watched that whole game too, because I know you were on Kentucky getting the points. I was on the under, which also cashed. So
yeah. And let me point out a little something else on Louisville. They, in 5 road games this year, they are 1-4 against the spread. But they're oh wait, I'm sorry. No. I said that wrong. 0-1, 0-2, 0-3. Okay, yeah, one. They are 1-4 against the spread, but their only cover was when they were. Wait, did I put that score in wrong? Hold on. Let me check something out here. Let me check something out here on Louisville and Kentucky.
And now I will read from the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, book 3. I mean, what are we doing here? Come on.
Okay, well, wait, no. So they lost 33-21 at Clemson. So plus 10.5 is not a spread cover, but that's what it says. It's a spread cover. Yeah, no, they didn't cover that game. So Louisville's 0-5 against the spread on the road, and they also lost outright at Stanford 2 weeks ago. So they're not very good on the road. All the more reason to back Kentucky. That was all I was getting at. So there you go. I like Kentucky. You like Kentucky?
I'm 100% on Kentucky. Kentucky's actually one of my favorite plays this week.
Are you an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify? Or are you an employee that's simply tired of answering to the man, ready to work for yourself? If so, let me tell you about our guy, Andy Ludecke, and his business, My Perfect Franchise.net. Andy'd had it with corporate America. He wanted to start his own business, and he did just that. Now he's got multiple businesses, and he can help you do the same thing. This guy wants to help. He's good people. Here's how it works. You go to Andy's website, myperfectfranchise.net. You set up an intro call, 1-hour consultation, 100% free. You tell Andy about your passion, skills, goals, time, and money you have to invest in this endeavor, and Andy figures out for you what sort of business fits your DNA. He registers you with potential franchises. He'll find the best franchise that suits the vision and corporate culture you want. And before you know it, you'll be on your way, and Andy will have you making greenbacks galore. What are you waiting for? Bet on yourself and bet on Andy. Reach out to him now at myperfectfranchise.net or call him at 404-973-9901, myperfectfranchise.net. All right, welcome back. Let's now go to Tuscaloosa, Auburn at Alabama, ABC, and we've got Bet Online listing Alabama's 11.5-point favorite with a total of 53. Auburn on the money line plus 335, and Alabama in the first half is Bet Online does not have a first half line for that game yet. All right, I'll let Jay start. This is his rivalry game.
It makes me sad because I have not picked an Auburn game correctly all year, but I love Auburn in this spot. I absolutely love everything about it. And the only downside of the amazing 4 overtime win against Texas A&M is the lingering thoughts of what could have been for a very, very Auburn. This Auburn team's going to look up, and in 5 years, there are going to be a whole lot of dudes on Sunday night NFL football who go, when they do the starting lineups, and they go, Billy Bob Thornton, Oklahoma. They're going to be like multiple guys from this Auburn football team in the NFL. And they let it get away with self-inflicted wounds throughout the course of the year, whether that was coaching, whether that was quarterback play. I'll leave that to people smarter than me. But this really feels like an opportunity. I actually would play Auburn on the money line here.
Interesting. I don't feel like I can trust either team, and I don't like the game. And so I'm going to be a fence sitter now. Maybe I'll get involved. You know, if Auburn gets a big lead early and I can get Alabama -3, maybe I would do that. Maybe if Alabama gets ahead 10-0 early and I could get Auburn plus 18 or something, you know, maybe I would get involved live. But I made the number 12. I think it's a good number, and I don't really trust either team, and so I'm going to be a fence sitter pregame. There we go. All right.
I think this is a real chance that Auburn come out quickly. Maybe I like the first half whenever that number gets posted and the points early, because this is honestly Auburn's playing for bowl eligibility. Alabama's now playing for nothing because it's going to take obscene amount of craziness for Alabama to get into the playoff with that 3-touchdown loss in Norman, Oklahoma.
Yeah, one big injury, Deontay Lawson out for the rest of the season for Alabama. He has 76 tackles this year, 6.5 tackles for loss, 4 passes broken up, 2 sacks, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 forced fumble. So big loss for Alabama in the on the D line, or actually outside linebacker. Okay, let's now talk about Missouri hosting Arkansas, and this is going to be on the SEC network at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, and BetOnline has Missouri -3 with a total of 54.5. And this is my favorite game, at least on the college side of things, this week. I love Missouri. Had them last week. Seemed like a pretty comfortable cover the whole way at Mississippi State. They win 39-20. Brady Cook, 15 of 20, 268 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. And Yeah, Mizzou looked good, and they've won back-to-back over Arkansas and 7 of the last 8, including a 48-14 win last year. And the Razorbacks have dropped 3 of their last 5, both straight up and against the spread. The 3 losses by margins of 24, 32, and 10. I just think Missouri is in better form. I made Missouri a 7-point favorite. They are only 3. Love the Tigers.
No, I'm completely with you. And we've known this for a while, but man, oh man, is Burton putting up some highlight film, getting ready for the draft, or what? I
Yeah,
mean, that kid is a dude.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. He's going to go very high and deservingly so, and he's going to be a big time player at the next level. And look, I mean, Missouri, they had CFP aspirations and, didn't get it there. Had 2 very piss poor showings at Bama and at A&M. Now, the Bama thing, Cook was not healthy, and then he ended up leaving that game. So there's kind of a little bit of an excuse there, but hey, they can still win this game. They can still win a bowl game to get to 10 wins. I mean, Eli Drinkwitz is not going to go broke winning 10 games on an annual basis in the SEC at Missouri.
And I think for this collection of kids, you talked about Brady Cook, we talked about the Burton kid. I think this is an important last game in Columbia for those kids. And no, I'm with you. I think I like this game as much as, if not more than any SEC game on the slate.
Now, I was told, and I had not looked at the weather, I think there could be some snow in this game, but I don't think that's an advantage either way to either team. So I don't really care. I mean, Missouri can run the ball with Nate Noel and Marcus Carroll, and so yeah, I don't really think it's a factor. All right, so we both like Mizzou a lot. All right, let's go. Oklahoma at LSU, ESPN, 7 p.m. Eastern. And where is this one on the board?
I don't even know what you're going to say number wise, but whatever it is, lay it all with the Tigers. Brian Kelly needs this. Brian Kelly needs to be emphatic with this. And Oklahoma is coming in on a high, which almost always leads to somebody getting punched in the mouth.
I can't find this damn game on the board. Oh, here we go. All right, finally. Okay, we have BetOnline has LSU -6 with a total of 47. Oklahoma plus 195 on the money line. Okay, I think
lay them all. Lay them all. No, I like this as much as I like Missouri.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I think I like LSU in a teaser or a money line parlay. I don't know that I want to lay the 6. They're just not playing great football. But I mean, I hear your thoughts. I get, and they definitely have a big advantage at the quarterback position. Yeah, we'll see. I think LSU in a money line parlay or a teaser is good, but I'm not going to lay the 6. All right, moving on. Florida at FSU, ESPN 2, the Deuce, 7 p.m. Eastern. And, I think this game's kind of up high on the board. Okay, here we go. BetOnline has Florida 15, the total of 45 and a half. The semis are plus 500 on the money line. Don't waste your time. And the Gators in the first half are -7.5, but I got them at -7 in the first half this morning. I like Florida in the first half and for the game, but I've got -14, buying it from 14.5 early in the week, and I got it -7, -120 price in the first half. So I've got better numbers, but I would still lay it at 7.5 in the first half, and I would still lay the 15. And the Gators are 7-1 against the spread in their last 8, and they're coming off these big wins. And Lagway is playing well. The Noles are an atrocious 2-9 straight up, 3-7-1 against the spread, and they've still gone 13 games in a row against FBS competition without gaining 300 yards of total offense. Now, they did finally end their 13-game streak of not getting 300 yards of offense, but it was against an FCS opponent last week in 1-10, and now 1-11, Charleston Southern. I like the Gators first half in game.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you can play this. And I think it's important to remind folks about momentum and motivation as we get around Thanksgiving. I mean, Florida State's just looking to finish the string. Florida is looking to finish this thing in grand style. I mean, if they win this one, that makes them what, 7-5?
Yeah, I hope we get a good matchup in a bowl game against a good team. I want to play somebody really good.
Well, I mean, but it's 7-5 and energized. You're talking about maybe one of those
top
New
15
Year's
preseason
Day
next year. Oh,
Florida Bowls.
I hope. I'm not. I didn't look really at the ESPN bowl projections. Maybe I don't know if that's a possibility. Maybe.
I mean, because you're going to sell a lot of tickets. You're going to be energized. You're going to a lot of the traditional bowl matchups are already pegged to the playoff games. So, I mean, who knows? The bowl shakeout after the top 12 will be a little bit crazy. But who would you, if Florida stomps Florida State, which I think could very easily happen, you're talking about a fan base that's going to be energized with a freshman quarterback who would potentially sell 40,000 plus tickets to, I mean, I don't know, one of the Orlando games or the Tampa game.
Yeah. I hope that's what happens. But I mean, I'm not against going to Memphis or Nashville if the opponent is right. So, we both like the Gators. All right. So I believe this is last, but certainly not least, as the first meeting since 2011 between Texas and Texas A&M. Bet online has Texas -5 with a total of 49. I like A&M plus the 5. Texas is 1-4 against the spread in its last 5. The lone spread cover coming when Florida was starting a third-string QB, making his first career start, and was missing Montrell Johnson and quite a few other players. And we get A&M in bounce-back mode, but still with a chance to get to the SEC championship game, and therefore a chance to get to the CFP if they win the SEC championship game. So A&M +5, I think the crowd will be a major factor. A&M +5.
I like that side too, but of the plays, after watching every single second of A&M at Auburn, I 100% think the total, I think this game's in the 30s. I think this game's going to be close down to the end. So my favorite play on this game is over, but if I'm going to play a side, I'm with you on Texas A&M because I almost hate the fact that I think I'm on, with the exception of Florida and Georgia, and even in Georgia, with the exception of maybe Florida, I'm on every underdog in every rivalry game this weekend.
That's okay. That's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, Kentucky owns Louisville, but they're an underdog, a home underdog. South Carolina's playing as good as anybody. They're barely an underdog. They wouldn't be an underdog if they were on a neutral or at home. I think you're okay. All right. Non-SEC picks. You want to go or you want me to go?
I have not dug too deep into the non-SEC genre. Us going a day earlier.
Sure.
I am.
No problem.
I'm a bit tardy.
No problem. I've only got one. Air Force. They are playing right at the right time. Let's buy the half point from 3.5 to 3. The Falcons -3 at San Diego State. Air Force has covered 4 in a row. They've won 3 in a row. And on the flip side, San Diego State at 3-8 straight up is in danger of finishing with its lowest win total in more than a decade. They've dropped 5 in a row, including back-to-back losses by margins of 21 points apiece. And Air Force beat up on the Aztecs 49-10 last year. And last trip to San Diego 2 years ago, they beat them 13-3. Give me the Falcons of Air Force -3 behind the hook at San Diego State. All right, NFL. Detroit Lions -6.5 in the first half. In their last 3 home games at halftime, they have led 28-6 to Jacksonville, 35-14 to the Titans, 21-7 to the Seahawks. And in 5 of their last 6 road games, the lone admission, that Sunday night football game to Houston, they've had halftime leads of 14-6 at Indy, 17-3 at Green Bay, 21-10 at Minnesota, 27-6 at Dallas, and 20-10 at Arizona. Chicago winless in 4 road games, 0-3-1 against the spread. They've lost 5 in a row, regardless of the venue, and they hate their head coach. So Detroit -6.5 for the first half, and also a little bit for the game, -10. Let's also fade the Jets with the Seattle Seahawks -2. Let's also go over 48, Cincy and Pittsburgh. The over's hitting 4 straight for the Bengals. Combined scores of 61, 69, 65, and 54. And let's fade my Falcons, although they have the ideal spot with the Chargers traveling across the country after playing on Monday night on a short week, and the Falcons have been off for 2 weeks. But the Chargers have the head coaching advantage and the better football team. Give me the Chargers -2 at Atlanta. Finally,
Are grown men fighting in diapers this weekend?
they are not.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I am down in my Eliminator Suicide Pool contest. I am one of 11 remaining, going for 23 grand and change. I'm most likely playing the Bucks at the Panthers, but Green Bay at home to Miami is still slightly being considered. But it would take some major injury report news going bad on the Bucks or bad on the Dolphins and good on the Packers or something like
So
that.
there are 11 of you. You buried the lead. We should have talked about this at the beginning. There are 11 people left. How many people started?
1,552.
Is it winner take all or
Winner take all?
So there's no like if you finish third, you get like a grand or something?
Unless we all get to like the last week and we all survive and there's 3 left, then we'd split it 3 ways.
All right.
Yeah. So we were, the thing is, we were down to like 22 like a month ago, but nobody's been losing. But last week, one guy had Pittsburgh. Either 2 or 3 guys had the Commanders, and one guy had somebody that lost like at home. The Texans to the Titans. So we lost like 5 last week and down to 11.
Well,
and
that's cool. That's cool. And if you win this thing, next time I see you, dinner's on you, brother.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've still got some good teams left if I survive this week. I've still got Minnesota. I've still got Green Bay. I've still got Baltimore. But I don't want to use Baltimore against the Eagles, who've won like 7 in a row, although I do like Baltimore this week. But all right, there we go. Anything, closing shots, anything?
Nothing more than happy Thanksgiving and God bless America.
Happy Thanksgiving. God bless America. And hopefully God will bless all of our wagers this weekend. Thanks to myperfectfranchise.net and BetOnline and Southeastern 16 for Jay Greeson. I'm Brian Edwards. Let's win. See ya.